this offense is clicking, how these quarterbacks are looking, just what you've seen so far from these guys?
One of our biggest challenges is just trying to figure out, personnel as far as kind of who fits where, who does what best, and so that's where now really that's the process we're in offensively. Is really kind of, I think we've identified kind of who the top guys are kind of at each spot, and then it's just a matter of figuring out really kind of where they fit and how do we kind of build that around them, and then ultimately the same thing with the quarterback. It's been competitive between those guys, and now it's about how do we put the right cast around them in the right situations.
Is it the same top receivers and running backs going ones and twos with both quarterbacks?
No, and generally running backs has been a little bit by committee. We kind of know who really kind of the top top of the depth chart is there. Receiver wise, there's been a lot of movement just as far as just trying to find the right cast that we're putting around them.
A lot of new faces in the receiver room with Jalen Gill and Moss, and how have you really seen them step in and integrate with this offense?
Yeah, Jalen Gill's really talented, and he's a sponge. He really tries to eat up kind of everything from an offensive standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. And Jalen Moss, it's been really cool to see his growth and maturity. It's probably more as much off the field as on the field, just as far as kind of him advancing from a depth chart standpoint.
Who's the more mobile quarterback between Logan and Mikey?
Honestly, they're both very good at extending plays in different ways, and really Jaden Mandel too. They're all probably more athletic and can extend plays, but they all kind of do it a little bit differently. So it's not really, I wouldn't say there's any one more than the other, to be honest.
Are they both more mobile than Jake was last year, and will that be something that we see in the playbook, their mobility used?
I mean, Jake was so special with the ball in his hands as far as throwing the ball, making decisions, all that. So, you weren't necessarily looking to move him a ton because he was so good at decision making, understand where the ball was going to go. Now it's a little bit more, we have some skill sets that maybe we can play into, but I wouldn't necessarily say we're going to, feature that as a huge part of it, because at the end of the day, when you run the quarterback a bunch, you're exposing them, to a lot of hits too.
What's the biggest thing about Mikey's time at Central Florida that you see translating at Fresno State?
Just game experience. He just sees it well. It's not moving too fast for him. That's probably the big thing that you see with Mikey.
What's the biggest thing about Logan's experience last year that's translating to this year?
He took some lumps early, to be honest. He took some lumps early and bounced back. And I just think that was it was kind of the baptism by fire for him last year. And he ended up really kind of bouncing back. And I think that he learned from that. Not everybody learns from their failures or learns from their mistakes. He's learned from some of those things.
One of your DBs told us Josiah Freeman's the guy to keep an eye out for. How have you seen him really develop and mesh with this team?
The big thing for Josiah is we just consistency. He has a ton of ability, and now it's just a matter of being consistent. But he's got all the talent to be an elite player.
Has Mikey talked about carryover from the UCF playbook to this playbook, and is there any huge differences for him to learn?
I think when you look at across college football, everybody's running some version of similar plays. It's just a matter of how you coach it, how you do it. Maybe we run the same play, maybe we read it a little bit differently, but a lot of times there is a lot of carryover within offenses just kind of in college football. So there's definitely is carryover for him.
Stand-up plays from today's practice?
Had a couple runs. We had some opportunities to maybe make some plays downfield. I thought Trey Watson made a play down in the last period. So we had a few plays. I thought we repped off a few runs as well.
Who's the fastest, most explosive tight end on this team?
What's interesting, we wear those GPS trackers, and it keeps speed profiles on them. And really, they're all really even. There's nobody that, pulls away necessarily. Brock Liam is the fastest tight end in the room. I'll say that. Yeah, I'll say that. He is.
Thanks, Coach.